Hello, everyone. We're live. Welcome back to another episode of WunderGraph Show Tell. It's been a while since we saw you guys. Don't worry, we're still here. We've been cranking out like crazy. You'll see some new faces here. So we have Gerben and Danny. They've joined us recently. We are also fully expanded our team to 15 members now. And not everyone is here because, it's holiday season, Easter weekend, and don't worry, we're all here. We're still cranking. And so we're kind of bringing back show and tell. We've had a lot of influx from the community that they kind of like to see what we were doing and what we were building. And so now weekly, we'll be bringing back show and tell, which, as you know, is unedited, unscripted, and it just shows you what we did in the past sprint. So today, we got some exciting updates. We have Danny, our newest member, presenting our new Svelte kit. We have Dustin presenting OTel and TUI, which is a terminal user interface. I just learned that today. And we'll be assisted by Yuri, the Let's Go expert. Third, we have our new community member, Gerben, who will be actually presenting the community forum, which I'm actually super excited about. And then again, a grand appearance from Danny, who will be presenting the Relay client. So let's get right into it. Danny, feel free to share your screen and present the Svelte kit. And guys, he might be a little nervous, but we believe in him. You can do this, Danny.
Sure. Let's get into it. Cool. My screen is visible now. Cool.
There you go.
Yeah. So this is like something I started off as open source, which was like in development before I joined WunderGraph. So like pretty excited to share. So officially we started the Svelte integration. Now we have like full support for Svelte kit as well as the vanilla Svelte client. So if you're using like Svelte with Vite or you want to have the full Svelte kit, we have support for both. And to make WunderGraph work with the Svelte, we decided to go with the TanStack query. So if you already had like worked with the WunderGraph on React or Next, you might have seen our TanStack query integrations before. And the good thing about TanStack is they come with like support for React, Solid, Vue, and Svelte. We already got the Solid support out recently. So following up on that, we are already got the Vue support in progress, and we got the Svelte version like live. And in terms of like usage, Svelte client is like very similar in usage to the usual React query integration. So we got the traditional use query component. So this is the create query component. And what's interesting about this is this integrates well into our existing TypeScript client, which means everything provided by the TypeScript client. You can think about the live queries, you can think about the mutations, subscriptions, everything like just works out of the box. And you have like full TypeScript support. For example, if I have to like write down the operation, the entire operation is like fully typed. For some reason, IntelliSense is.
Do you want to share something or?
I think you might have to switch the screen.
Yeah.
I did switch the screen. Is my VS Code visible?
No, it's not. Try again to switch the screen.
Okay, just a second. Let me.
No worries. But while you're doing that, I wanted to just bring up one important note. So Danny joined our team from an open source contribution, which is really important to highlight. So we take a look at every pull request and every feature request. And Danny just built it out in a weekend, this Svelte kit, and we were like, wow, this guy's amazing. We have to bring him on the team. So remember, guys, the best way to get hired for a company is to contribute to their open source repository. So great job, Danny. And so far, you're killing it. I love it. And we're back.
Thanks. So I was like just going through the TypeScript support that we added. So since the Svelte integration like takes the entire leverages the entire TypeScript client, we basically like provide the necessary operations. Let me add the operations file. Cool. Not here. Okay, the operations client is already added. Now, when I need to add an operation, like we get full IntelliSense support, which means like you don't have to worry about the queries as long as you have defined the operations. in the WunderGraph operations GraphQL, you get the full support out of the box, and you also get the live query, and your data will like update in real time. And what's interesting about like the Svelte kit is Svelte kit comes with like SSR support, which means you get the same experience, but the first render of the query actually like renders on the server side. So we got like the page here, and here we can simply add prefetch and bring the entire query client render on the server side. Just a second, let me just go and get the code. Or hold on, it's like some issue with the screenshot.
Unedited, unscripted. Don't worry.
Well, let me just get the. Or I can just show directly. So we provide this prefetch query option. So what happens now is, along with the query being like live and like fully end-to-end type safe, you also get the first render on your server side on Svelte kit, which basically means it's good for like static site generation. It's good for SEO friendly content. So you get the idea. We basically like abstracted away all the complex part about adding an API into a Svelte project. So Svelte query is available now. Welcoming everyone in the Svelte community, like to give it a try, share your feedback on our open source repo. We'll be like happy to address your feedbacks.
Great job, Danny. That was awesome for the first time. Okay, so like Danny said, Svelte Kit, go ahead, try it out, bring it up in the community. If you have any questions, Danny is there to help out. Next, we have Dustin presenting OTel and TUI, the terminal user interface. I'm actually super excited about this one. You guys probably saw it on Twitter, but it's pretty awesome.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
So awesome. So we have worked on an improved version of our CI experience. So how it will look like, you just need to run pnpm dev, and it will, and the next time you're upgrading Winner SDK, you will start the TUI, terminal user interface. So before that, you saw a lot of logs and debug level mode, and it was super hard to figure out what's the actual context, what's going on. And now you get a beautiful overview of your API endpoint, of your GraphQL playground if it's enabled, and if you make some modification in the files, for example, here in the server and store, you immediately get feedback what's happening. So also in case of an error, you get the error. You see how many data sources you have integrated, how many operations. That includes GraphQL and TypeScript operations, how many webhooks are integrated, and if authentication or file uploads are enabled. And also you have integrated some key binding shortcuts. If you need help, you can click H for joining the Discord. You can close the server, open a GitHub issue with a shortcut, or even open the docs. So I think this is super handy and a more pleasant experience to work with WunderGraph in the beginning. But we all know that logs are very useful for debugging or more experienced users. So you can also switch to a log mode and just say -- logs. And we also improved the overall logging experience. We are no longer so verbose. We improved on the logging messages and what we really need to log. So yeah, it's also more aligned. Here you see, for example, the SDK component, the server component, or the node component, all in the same format. Also, generate has been simplified. If you run generate, that's it. Before you saw, I don't know, 100 logs. Yeah, so super great. So that was the TUI interface. So additionally, we also worked on auto integration. That means open telemetry that allows you to understand what's going inside the Wunder node and outside, and to understand the full request chain. How long does it took to make an origin call? And I think Yuri can tell you more about that. He has prepared a demo how it will look like if you're integrated with Zipcan, a visualization tool to show traces. And by the way, we also are working on an integration with our cloud product to make that even nicer. And
Yeah, Dustin, maybe you can actually mention that we track it starting from the edge proxy and up to the origin. So first of all, I would suggest to check logs. We have detailed description on how to configure it using WunderGraph config.ts or environment variables, how to implement authentication and tracing. Then we will add the example which will run for you all-in-one Jaeger tracing Docker image with the UI and collector. And yeah, for example, this is Jaeger UI. We have list of traces. This is example of the error. So in this case, origin didn't respond, connection refused. So we log these errors and we are making failed span. Yeah, here is example of federation subscription. And yeah, we instrumented Wunder node, we instrumented our hook server, and we add in custom tags, which depends on the particular operation.
So we get the full picture. So we get the full picture of what's really going on inside your node, right? So we correct me if I'm wrong, but we have instrumented the hooks, the origin calls, the incoming calls, and good mention that we also instrument cloud. So if you use cloud, you will also see the root spawn that hit our edge proxy.
Yeah, and later we will introduce our custom UI, which looks much more better than Jaeger.
Yeah, and I think very that reminds me also very important to note is we are working on a public auto endpoint that allows you to integrate your own services, so that you're not just able to see the traces and logs from the Wunder node, but also seeing the logs and understanding the full chain of your internal services. So yeah.
Very cool. Super excited about that. One thing that we should note is last week Dustin was very sick and he was also on vacation, and he decided to get better by building out the TUI in a weekend. So that's just the type of beast he is. So Dustin, congrats, but please, next time you feel sick, actually take some time off. Okay, up next is Gerben, one of our newest members. He is a server shepherd, or also known as our senior DevOps engineer. So Gerben's going to talk about our new community forum that we just added.
Hi, thank you. Let's see if I can make this presentation thing going. Awesome. Okay,
let me guess. Is it not going to let you share because you didn't with Chrome?
It might.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
So, there we go.
Cool. So welcome to our new community platform. It is we currently have Discord, which is an awesome place, but it's not very good at storing long-term detailed threads. And that's something forums are actually very good at. So we decided to introduce one. It's community.wundergraph.com. well, you can, do what you can do on the forum. You can write stuff. So let's talk about today's show and tell. WunderGraph is awesome, of course. Wow. So there we go. I encourage everyone to sign up and talk here about maybe longer threaded discussions that Discord is in place for. You can log in. You can log into it with your regular. Let me share this correct tab. So you can log into it with your WunderGraph Cloud account. So you can sign up for that through either GitHub or Google. That roughly looks like this. You can go to our website. You can go sign up or log in, and if you already have a account with us, you'll be able to just access the forum straight away. Yeah, that's short as it is, but that's what we have for you today.
Cool. Thank you, Gerben. Super excited about this because, like Gerben said, Discord, it can get kind of annoying with the threads, and now we'll have a dedicated place where you can ask detailed questions, and our whole team will be on there. And so any questions that you guys ask, we'll be answering, and then we can go into detail about any topics you guys might have. Like you said, sign up with your WunderGraph Cloud account, and then start posting. And then last, we have Danny again, just to get a little bit more extra practice presenting the Relay client. So Jens is really excited about this one if you've been following him on Twitter. I'm actually super excited about it. We're trying to make Relay great again. So Danny, go ahead, give us a little update on it.
Awesome. So Relay is like a pretty important step for us in terms of like integrating GraphQL into a client-side application. So Relay is like the gold standard for like working with GraphQL, because unlike other GraphQL clients, it makes sure performance and maintainability is like up and front of your application development. But still, right now, Relay integration is something like under development. It's like highly experimental stuff, what I'm going to show. We are still figuring out how to write the documentation, because not only are we trying to get Relay to work with WunderGraph, we are also trying to make it simple so that even new WunderGraph users will find it like a bit easier to work with Relay, because Relay is known to be like have like a pretty good learning curve. So right off the start, so Relay comes with a really good server-side rendering support, because let me open up the API reference. Oops. Yep. So Relay has this whole concept of like preloaded query. So the idea behind Relay is that you should be able to leverage the entire server-side rendering as well as the new React suspense loading mechanism, so that the data loads fast as possible for the users. And working with the SSR and the provided suspense, the entire learning curve tend to be like slightly difficult for like new users. So here in our Relay integration, what we did is we set up Next.js support straight up during the development itself, because Next.js is one of the easiest server rendered frameworks that you can like work with on React. And while you are working with Next.js, we also provide the WunderGraph Relay wrapper. So what this wrapper does is, as soon as you write your query along with all the necessary fragments, you just wrap your entire React component with this Relay wrapper, and it will take care of the server-side rendering part. It will make the API call on the server side, and if you are like doing a static site generation, it will also make sure during build time the API call has been like made, and your preloaded query will get the required data. So we got the server-side rendering part covered, and here is where things get interesting, because since behind the scenes we are like setting up a new Relay environment that actually uses the TypeScript client of WunderGraph, we tend to get the live query out of the box. So I think I can directly like show the library code itself, since this is like the in development version. So what we did is we set up our own environment. So behind the scenes, Relay's environment uses our TypeScript client. So this is the fetch and this is the subscription. both of them uses our environment, and we basically like pass the environment to both server and client. So where is the, yeah, both client network and server network gets, yes, this is the React relay, Next.js relay. Yep. Yeah, so we get the client environment, and we also make the server environment compatible with our WunderGraph client. So you, as a developer, like you want to like add relay into a WunderGraph project, most of the complexities are like abstracted away, and you just need to like wrap your component with this WunderGraph relay HOC, and you get all the interesting things out of the box. And here, when the live query is like active, just like how in SvelteKit, the first render happens on the server side, and once the client loads, you get like real time data. You get the exact same experience while you are working with relay as well. And we are like also trying to streamline the API, make it like much easier. And there's also a few challenges, because usually if you have worked with any other WunderGraph integration, usually you tend to write the operations file first, and then we generate the code based on the operations. But relay works in reverse. You write the relay GraphQL code first, and now we are generating the operations based on the relays code, which means we have to like play nice with the relay compiler as well. So like a whole set of like complexities are being taken care of behind the scenes. So expect the relay support to like land real soon. We are like trying to make the documentation also a lot simpler, and wish us luck. Cool. Stephen, over to you.
Nice, thank you. So, as Danny said, we're trying to make Relay great again. So that concludes another episode of WunderGraph Show and Tell. So keep your eyes open in the Discord for another episode next week. We have a bunch of stuff we're adding, integrations. And if you didn't see yesterday, we just introduced Neon as an official integration partner. So expect a blog post later today. That concludes Show and Tell. Thank you guys again so much. And make sure you subscribe and like below. Any comments on the format, whether you want to see it longer, shorter, let us know. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Right.